Oh, Dad, oh, Dad, oh, Dad, won't you spare me over another?
Hey everybody, it's me, Josh again, and joined by Colby, part of our old team, now is a part of this team, Upstate Paranormal and Beyond. There again, I'm the leader, and he is taking over some of our tech and stuff. We have about 3 or so tech. Today we're going to talk about something very interesting. Callie's out right now, and so it's just us two. But we have some interesting things to share. This is going to be kind of one specific topic. The main big topic that we want to talk about is a topic that everybody that knows us personally wants to hear, and it's one of our experiences from Hell's Gate, which is Oakwood Cemetery in Spartanburg. It's more or less over in Hillcrest area. It's behind the Converse College.
It's like right off the little main street. Like, go down that main street, Converse College is like right there. It's like off a little back street.
So we're going to jump into it. I'm going to let him tell his side of the story first, and then I'll tell my side of the story. A lot of the members that was a part of that at the time, it was part of the old team, so it's a story from the old team. So all those people that's associated with it, that you'll hear names mentioned and stuff, are no longer associated with the team or anything, but yeah. So you can go ahead and kick it off.
Alrighty. So about, I'd say roughly maybe a year and a half ago it was, give or take. It was somewhere around that time. Me and Josh, I had just started getting in the paranormal type stuff and like doing the actual ghost hunting and just things like that. And I had actually moved to the area in Spartanburg not too long after I had met him, and he invited me to join the group because I thought it was something interesting. It caught my attention, and I actually had personal experiences that actually happened at previous houses and even in my own house. And he had seen those situations and vouched for we call it the tall guy with the top hat.
Yeah,
he was a pretty cool guy, but weird at the same time. But yeah, so getting like us after a few years, we became friends. He's like, yeah, I'm starting a big group. We've already got a good bit of people and stuff like that. And I decided to join because I thought it was interesting. So he's like, I've been doing some research, and I found a place. They call it Hell's Gates. And he kind of gave me the little backstory onto the, what most people know and some people don't about how they do like the satanic rituals down in the tunnels and stuff like that.
Lots of orbs and stuff.
And orbs, crazy feelings in your chest and
Phones
everything.
Being messed with.
I was about to say just crazy different stuff. Like I've went down in there before with just a few people, and my headlights have turned off completely without me actually going and deactivating them myself. Just the bulbs basically dimming out. Like the power was shut down and then came right back on. But this specific time, we actually had planned this event about 2-3 months ahead of time. Everyone, we were like, listen, we want this to be one of the biggest times we've ever done anything in this group. And actually the event ended up being huge. We had like 6 or 7 carloads of people, new people, original members, just newer members, stuff like that. It ended up being crazy. I mean, people, we were ready just in case if anything happened. People had dogs, like bulldogs, or stuff like just crazy, guns, knives, the whole 9 yards. Like, because everyone's known about the satanic people. I ain't wanting to get sacrificed, and I don't think he does either, or nobody else did. So everybody was prepared just in case the worst happened. Mm-hmm. Well, since we had such a big group, we decided let's do something that no one else has. And remind you, this was about the peak of night, so it wasn't dark yet, but it was like dawn. We could see everything and kind of see what we were doing. And there's a tree line, like when you go down to the very back, there's a tree line. And we actually found a path, which is kind of strange that you find a random path in the woods at a cemetery. So we were like, all right, so this has got to be most likely, if there is true, the saying is true that there's, Satan worshipers and stuff, they must take this path because it wasn't paved, but you could tell it was a path. Everything, all the branches, everything had been separated. It was a full-on path. So we all go down there, and one of my past friends, Nick, he's he's going to be rung up in this a lot because he was with me with most of this situation.
Along with another guy by the name of Paul.
Paul, yeah. And so we went down, basically we went, and there's a train track right after the tree lines. And we went down there, and me and Nick decided, hey, we want to see what this is truly about. We got the light. It's not too dark. It's still creepy, but it's to the point where, you know, if something happened, get out of there, we could see what we were doing, and we weren't trying to search through the darkness. And so we go down the hill, which the hill's like a straight slope pretty much. We go down there, and we go right where there was like a little river, and where the little tunnel was, and we went to the edge of the tunnel, and we looked in there, and surprisingly, it was so dark, even though it was pretty much still had a decent amount of light outside, it was so dark, I couldn't see anything. Like, I mean, I was maybe 5 feet in the tunnel, and that was it. Everything else just almost like it was zoned into a pure blackness hole. And at that point, I started feeling weird, and Nick did too. Well, we looked up and noticed that the group decided to go ahead and start heading out. I'm not sure. Maybe most of them started feeling weird too, and we're like, yeah, just get the hell out of here. And so me and Nick were like, dude, we got to go catch up to him. So we run back, literally run up this hill, like a vertical hill. We run up the hill, and we get up there, and I'm all out of breath. He's out of breath, and the group was still kind of standing right there, so they didn't leave too far or nothing like that. They were right there where the tracks was. Well, they had just entered and started walking through the woods, and me and Nick were still like standing there like, whew, catching our breath, and we started to walk through the woods. And at that time, between me catching my breath, my chest became heavier and heavier. I could just feel like as I started walking, like I could feel a really weird sensation, and just got stronger and stronger and stronger as we started getting closer to that wood line going back into the cemetery part. Well, then all I remember is Nick was walking in front of me, and we were about halfway through the wood line. And if anyone's ever had high blood pressure or any sort of thing that has ever made you faint or pass out, that was how I felt. Like I just blacked out. This is where I get to somewhat of a side from what I was told by some of the people, excluding Josh's part of it, but some of the people like Nick. So basically, he was still walking in front of me, and at this point, I had done whatever possessed me it was already happening. And as he kept walking, I walked behind him. Well, he said that he noticed it sounded like my footsteps were getting fainter as he was walking. By the time he had done exited the wood line and was back into the cemetery, catching up with the group, he said I had just walked out of the wood line. And when I did, he said I just fell to my knees, and he didn't, he thought maybe that I had cut my leg or just something weird, and like I was just being dramatic about it or something. So he went to go check on me, and when he did, he said the immediate shock was what's going on, like because he was new to this. He's never seen any kind of thing like that. He's actually never even encountered any kind of ghost reaction or any kind of paranormal activity. So he was really new to this kind of genre of stuff like this. And he went up to me, and basically he said that my eyes were pretty much rolled to the back of my head, but instead of just normal, they were solid white. Like as white gets, it was that color. There was no veins running through my eyes. There was nothing in my eyes besides the pure white, and it was like dark around my eyes. And he said about that time when I lifted up my head, by him pushing my head up like this, my eyes were rolled back, and he said I was foaming out of the mouth. Like there was straight up foam, white foam guzzling down my face and onto my shirt. Well, about that time, he said his immediate reaction was freaking out. Like he didn't know what to do. So
at this time, by the way, me and most of the others are halfway across the cemetery looking at something completely different.
Yeah, they were already done up the hill and about mid-cemetery.
Yeah.
Me and him are still at the bottom of the hill. Well, with his immediate reaction, there was a few girls that was with us, and they were standing at the cars because they were literally too scared to move. They didn't want to go anywhere. Well, when he yelled, he said he pretty much yelled out like, "Help, please help," or whatever, like just freaking the fuck out about it. And the specific girls was like, guys, come on. And so basically they relayed the message. Well, at that point, everyone's running like straight up hauling ass across the cemetery, trying to figure out what's going on, because they didn't know if some legit killers or something was after us or what was going on, because they didn't see me. Well, then basically from this point on, he could tell the rest, because at that point he was actually in the situation, on the scene, and everything what happened. So
pretty much, we hauled ass across the cemetery. We got up to him. I saw him down on his knees, eyes rolled back, foaming at the mouth and stuff. And I asked Nick, I was like, is he okay? Is he having a seizure or anything like that? And he's like, no, he just fell to his knees, started doing this. And I said, it's a possibility that he's getting possessed or whatever. I brought out my anointing oil and started coming towards him, and he got up and started lunging towards me, upon where I had 8 men about our size,
full grown men,
grab his ass, hold him down on the ground, and he was still pulling them up a couple of inches off the ground. And I'm talking, like I said,
and I was laying flat.
He was laying flat on the ground. His feet wasn't flat on the ground or anything. He was flat, pulling them up off the ground while I was trying to anoint him. And it got hectic. I didn't know what was going on, what was wrong or anything. We didn't have sage or anything on us at the time. We just had the anointing oil. I did that. A couple minutes or so passed by, and he snapped out of it, and he was completely fine. But he didn't remember nothing.
Yeah, I don't.
From the point he come out of the woods up until after we was all standing around, he was basically like, "Why are y'all?"
I didn't realize what was going on. There was a few people, like the girls were crying and freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the guys, like there was one guy who was in there. He actually could speak in tongues. He was still sitting there on his knees with tears coming down his eyes, still speaking in tongues, because he was like, how crazy the situation was.
Another one of our members, Alan, he was there actually. Alan was one of those that was holding him down.
Yeah, he was on one.
Yeah, it was Nick, Alan. I don't remember everybody else.
Yeah, it was Nick, Alan, Shaheem.
All kinds.
It was a bunch of people, and almost all of them were either equal to my size or a little smaller than me. But to the point where if you was to even equal up weight wise, like weight contribution to each person, probably over 2,000 pounds. No joke. Like a few of those guys were probably a good 300, 250 a piece.
Yeah.
So, I mean, between all 8, and actually, I think at one point from what I was told, 9 people. So 2 people on each arm. So 2, 4, 6, 8. So 2 people on each leg, and then 1 on top of my chest. So at one point, technically 9 people. That was when I actually started lifting them off the ground. Shaheem, a dude that's pretty much built like me but more muscular, was the dude that got on top of me and was speaking in tongues. Everything that I know was literally all by what I was told. I don't remember anything that happened. I don't remember seeing anything. I don't remember hearing anything. To me, I almost felt like I was sleeping. Like I couldn't feel anything emotionally. I couldn't see anything. Everything was just kind of blacked out. It was basically like if you close your eyes, you see the blackness, but I couldn't feel nothing or anything. No physical feels, no emotional feelings, nothing.
Yeah. This story, it's just, there's a few other stories that spirals off of this one, that encounters and stuff that me and him has dealt with at various different cemeteries. So you guys will have to tune in to other videos and stuff later down the line and see all the other stories and stuff that we've accumulated with our old team, along with stuff that we've had happen. Because a lot of the stuff that's occurred with all the old team, we've kind of learned our lessons and stuff. Like the Hell's Gates experience is kind of set in stone for us. He won't go to Hell's Gates.
I won't. I've been thinking about it. I actually, like, I had 2 kids during the time, like since that's happened. I've had 2 kids, and I haven't been doing anything like that since then. The last time I ever really did anything, we went to a small cemetery. It was 4 people. It was more or less just a small rush going to go see, because the actual cemetery, it was really the first time all of us had went, and that was actually something I would like to eventually go to again, because there's like a little barn thing, or I call it the slaughterhouse, and if we ever do it and I get some good pictures, that's another thing too. With me joining the group, I'm going to actually start trying to do some photography type stuff, and get some good promotional pictures as we go out to places, to encourage other people to see the full in-flesh details of the actual graveyard, of what we're experienced throughout the pictures, to hopefully motivate people to want to pick up this more or less like a hobby, and just something that people will generally enjoy.
And more for videos and stuff too, like I was mentioning in episode 2, we're going to start doing videos and stuff of some of our adventures so you guys can actually see that. Don't you have a GoPro or something?
Yeah.
So we could actually start shooting some videos and stuff. You guys can actually witness, not only hear the stories, but actually witness some of the things that we encounter and the locations we go to. Just a brief reminder, don't forget March 13th, excuse me. March 13th, we are doing an open hunt. So if anybody is interested in joining us for that, you have to be over the age of 16 with parent permission. You can come out and join us. If you're 18, doesn't matter. You can just come on out. We post those up on here on our page and stuff so you guys can see those. If you haven't seen the other 2 episodes, go check those 2 episodes out. Colby will be joining us with a lot of other videos and stuff in the later future with all the other stories. You guys remember we was saying in episode 1 with the Lady in White, we had thousands of stories that we could share with you guys from Greenlawn. That's actually one of the places that we've went to as well with the past team, and he's had some encounters there as well.
That was the one with my
grandpa? Yeah. So that. If you guys want to know, we can't say anything now.
I'm not going to say anything, but
if you guys want to know, definitely.
It's a story to hear.
Yeah, it's a story to hear, definitely. If you guys think the Hell's Gate story, I believe, happens to be one of the most intense,
it's intense
stories that we have.
This one is the one that I've told a few people about, and they have damn near cried. I mean, literally. If they didn't cry, you could tell they were getting emotional because it's more or less surreal. It's something that it's not something that really you could make up. It's something that you could tell when I explain it, when I talk about it, you could tell it's real. It's not just something that I'm trying to get feedback off of. It's something that legit happened and a legit experience, and that's why I've told people, and they'll get cold chills from it. They'll tear up. A few people have actually cried from the story, and me telling it just by word of mouth.
And you guys will even be able to hear, because we've only been able to actually do one home hunt where we were called out to somebody's home. He was actually part of that as well.
Yeah, so we actually blessed the house too while we were there, which was surprisingly, it was another
and it worked.
One of them, it was one of them surreal type things where you see it on TV and you're like, wow, that is cool.
Yeah,
you do it in person and you're like,
see it in person,
whoa.
Yeah, it's
you're like, this ain't what I've seen on TV. This is not what I've seen on TV at all.
It's way different when you experience it versus watching it on TV or watching it on YouTube or anything like that. But just brief, not too much, because we're running out of time here. But how has the paranormal changed your life? Being a part of the old team, becoming a part of this team again, how is the paranormal with the things that you've experienced before doing this versus what you've experienced while doing this? How has it kind of changed your life in a few short words?
So, before doing this, I've had a few experiences, like I said, like in-home type things. Where I lived in the past, I lived in Emmons, South Carolina, in a small little area. In a specific house that I lived in, there was a few times that things were moved. Just small minor things, wasn't nothing too crazy, nothing too spiritual, emotional, or anything like that. And then we moved to Spartanburg, South Carolina, which is where most of the members are currently located or located around. And we moved in a specific house, which quite a few of past members, and there's a few of the members that are in the current group. I don't no longer live there, but they have been there and have experienced a few things.
I've seen things there when I visited.
But for a long time, I watched like the Paranormal Hunter investigation TV shows. I've watched YouTube channels. I've always been big into creepypastas. I've always been big into mythological type things that you don't really see in person, but you could have the chance. But really, a lot of that stuff I never believed in. I thought it was cool. I've seen it, heard it, didn't really believe in it until I got into doing this and fully experienced the whole 9 yards of doing it. I've been doing it for, what, four years now or something, and
now you're getting back into it.
Yeah, and it's been crazy. So
and another story, which will come in another video later, kind of tying into the not believing stuff. His brother actually didn't believe in it, and we had quite an experience. It made him a believer. We'll just leave it at that. But that we'll save for another video. Thank you for being a part of this video. We will have you come in some of the other videos later down in the line and tell more stories and stuff. But if you haven't checked out the other 2 episodes, go check those out. We've got tons more coming, tons of exploration videos and stuff waiting for you guys. There's so much we have in
check
store.
them out.
Yeah.
I'm part of the group, and even I watched them just by hearing some of the stories from other members in the group that sometimes I don't even get the info on that I hear about in a video, just because they want to let everyone know who watches the video how real this can be, but also how fun it can be.
Exactly. So with that being said, I'm the leader. We got our tech and our recorder and photographer and stuff like that. So yeah, with that being said, we're Upstate Paranormal and Beyond. Go check out those videos and stuff, and look for your next video. We'll release the date coming very soon. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. See ya.